All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. The conversation continues here. Bishop Dr. John Warari is here, Chairman Kenya Christian Forum and member IRCK, that is the Interreligious Council of Kenya. Sheikh Abdullahi Abdi, the Chairman NAMLEF, is also with us, National Muslim Leaders Forum, and Bishop Dr. Kepha Omae, Kenya Coalition of Church Alliances and Ministries. Thank you so much for staying with us. And Sheikh, before we segued into the break, you're talking about how to have a conversation with these young people who have achieved what could not be achieved in more than 60 years during your time. But then now there's a call to have dialogue. So how should that dialogue be structured when there's no specific leader to talk to?
I think before we talk about the structuring the dialogue, let us recognize, first of all, we have got a party that has got something to deliver. Everybody is talking about the good job that the youth are doing, but nobody is recognizing. Some are criticizing. So where we start from is, first of all, to give them the credit for what they have done. Number two is approach them. We know that it is leaderless for the time being. Whether they do it for strategy or for security is known to them. But a leaderless movement which is there right now. So we have to find how actually this movement is going to be engaged. Then we have to find out what are the formalities that we are going to use, what channels are we going to use. We have also to take into consideration what we have just seen right now. We just saw Alfred Keter being kidnapped. That's kidnapping. He appeared in a police station later on, but that's kidnapping. We should not go back to the old days whereby anybody who speaks up is going to be picked up. If that is the attitude and that's the environment, leaders is not going to come out of the youth. So we must have a peaceful environment whereby people will not fear and they can come out and speak openly. So we have to take that route. Number two, it is not a subject of the youth alone. This is a Kenyan subject. The issues they are addressing is issues we agree with them as Kenyans. We could not voice, but they are voicing for us, and we know each one of them. The finance bill was in terms of taxation. But other than the taxation, was justice being done with the tax which is being collected before? Is a question that you didn't need to ask. Do we need the structures of the government that we have right now? Do we have the duplication of functions that are there? We have a devolved system in this country. Everything is being concentrated in Nairobi. We have got ministries. The function of that ministry has been devolved before. You have got 2, 3 permanent secretaries earning salaries, plus the structure that is there. So before we start talking about IMF exploiting us, we have to look at the exploitation which is going at the local level. We have to look at the lavish lifestyle when Kenyans are starving and they cannot have a meal a day. Which obscene wealth which is being displayed to us by politicians without caring about the feeling of Kenyans. We have to address that issue. Okay, so there's a lot of things we need to address before we talk about dialogue.
Okay. And Bishop Omae, what did you discuss at State House?
Yeah, it's good you have asked that question. You know, when Reverend Joy appeared in one of the media stations, he alluded to actually the agenda that we presented to the president. And I would say this in line with what Sheikh has ably put across. There are issues that have been in this country that our young people have actually unpacked. And they have made it very clear that there are issues that need to be addressed, and Sheikh, you have actually enumerated them. We cannot wash that under the carpet. So we went there as bishops to add our voice to what our sons and daughters have actually raised up. You'll be so surprised that this is a discussion that had taken place. So we needed to go and add our voice by saying, wait a minute, our president, can you listen together with your leadership? There are issues our sons and daughters are raising up which are even beyond taxation. That's one bit. But there are other issues. Look at the rate of unemployment, for example, in this country.
But why now? Where were you all this time?
We were there. We had spoken. We had issued presses, pastoral letters. We have spoken about it. But you see what? It has erupted.
So you're saying the executive didn't listen to you at the time?
No, they were listening. But the truth of the matter is we have raised these issues over and over again. You know what, Trevor? We have our children with us.
Including the politicians and all. The other day, we went to Committee Prison to visit with the prisoners. And this is what I told them. I told them because we talk about 26 religious leaders. And the prisoners were looking at us like we are angels. And I told them the only difference between us and the prisoners is that we have not been caught yet. We have our weaknesses. We are human. But then we need to know that we have to stay true to our calling. Because at a time like this, if we did not have a stand, then we could not call upon the clergy to come and try to mediate. So I remember at one time we made a presser at Serena Grounds, and the presser was that even as politicians come and bring money to church, we should not make it a fanfare. We should and the Bible says, let not your right hand know what the left hand has done, or vice versa. So here we are, dented. Here we are, people pointing fingers at some of the clergy, not all. Because, for example, I want to believe, Trevor, that just like we have out there some journalists who are not true, they are rogue. That does not mean every other journalist is wrong. So I'm saying let us not put a blanket condemnation to the clergy. There are some who they have kept clean. They have not dipped their finger in the pot of politics. And they have demarcated and kept the pulpit holy. So there is a call that, and I'll give an example with the permission of my elder here. When the politicians go to the mosque, they don't go with a fanfare. I have been in mosques. They all sit on the carpet. There is no special seat. Whether it's the prince, the president who has walked into the mosque, there is no special seat. He will sit at the back there. We dropped it. And I want to believe the young people, they are seeing, and they've recognized our fault. And so my urge is, let the church be the church. Let the church be the voice of God. Let the men of God stand their ground, such that when they enter a place, there will be a true recognition that this is a man of God. But when we are patched up, tattered, accused of being bedfellows with the politicians, being men pleasers. That is where the young people are angry. Because let me tell you, Trevor, our young people, they want the truth. So they want transparency.
Can you then be trusted to lead this conversation, the dialogue that people are talking about? If amongst yourselves.
I would say I'm your humble servant. I would say yes, because a research that was done by the University of Nairobi 2.5 years ago, possibly three years by now, about the trust threshold. It was that the public, they trust, number one, the influencers that we have, or rather the people most trusted, are armed forces. And number two, the clergy. Have we, in the last 2 years, lost it? Could be. But I'm saying there are a few of us who can stand in the gap and
have the conversation.
Try and have the conversation with the young people.
Sheikh, is this multi-sectoral?
Armed forces. And number two, the clergy. Have we, in the last 2 years, lost it? Could be.
There is a very strong movement that is trying to bring changes in this country. It's very strong in terms of mobilizing the masses. It doesn't have the instruments of power in this country. The other side is holding the instruments of power, and they can do anything they want in this country. They can release the police on you, they can release the army on you, they can do anything. So there's a power imbalance. Okay? In that power imbalance, the youth came in with peaceful demonstration, which we witnessed, never seen in this country before. The numbers they mobilized, there is no politician in this country that can claim even a portion of that he could mobilize. The cross-section of representation is unbelievable. This, we should celebrate these heroes for this country. Having said that, what you require is the other side, which is the powerful side, to come down. Okay? Not to come and say, I'm going to have 100 people. Okay? Who decided on that 100 people? In a dialogue, you have got two parties discussing. You don't have one party dictating, I'm going to call this party or that party or that party, 2 people, 3 people of each one, and you come and join me. It's a dialogue. In a dialogue, do you discuss in terms of what are the instruments of engagement? How are we engaging with one another? Both parties must agree. So actually, that is, first of all, the first failure that I am seeing. Number 2, as I mentioned earlier, the environment must be peaceful. It must be cordial. Okay, which is this environment that we are going to hold? Are we going to go to State House, see the president there? Is the president there saying, let's meet in the space? Okay, it's a suggestion. The space is the most peaceful one for the other side. But what we are also talking about is a country. We have got a country to run. Okay? What we require is peaceful changes that are going to take place. Yeah. First of all, what we call upon is both sides to come down. The government, first of all, should release all those people that it has got also now in police cells. Okay? Yeah. These people who are not criminals. These people are people who went to the street to fight for their rights and our rights. So the first thing, as a sign of good gesture, the president must release everybody who is there without charges. The government should take the responsibility of paying for the hospital bills of those people who have been injured, as a sign of good gesture. And he's not treating somebody from outside. These are his own people. The president, these are his subjects. Yeah. These are his people. These are the people who put him in power. He has to do that. Number 3, he has to own up to some of the things that have been done as a sign of good faith. Then you can say, yes, he's listening to us. Okay. But if the president is not listening, if the president is still trying to justify his position, because there is nobody who's talking now. The CIs are not talking. The MPs have not talked. Thank God. They have been shown their rightful places. Okay? It's only the president now who is addressing the nation. He is the father of the nation. He is the symbol of unity of this country. He has to come down. Yes, he has agreed to withdraw the finance bill, but he has to come down below that. The stage you are in right now is a very dangerous one. The movement that has been done peacefully has been infiltrated. We have seen the burning of properties, loot. Okay? What we require is peaceful changes that are going to take place. First of all, what we call upon is both sides to come down. The government topics they have brought up is fantastic. We agree with them. We want changes in this country, but we must bring those changes peacefully. Okay. And we cannot do that out of the thoughts of just people running around in the streets. We have a constitution that we fought for so many years. We shed blood. The only problem we have is people are not following constitution. The constitution is in place, but constitutionalism is not there. Okay. We have to go back there. All right. So we call upon the youth, fantastic job. Keep up the good work peacefully. Okay. We are calling them to come down, to climb down. We are calling also the president and his team to climb down. Okay. Bishop Omae, I agree with them. We want changes in this country, but we must bring those changes peacefully. Okay. And we cannot do that out of the thoughts of just people running around in the streets. We have a constitution that we fought for so many years. We shed blood. The only problem we have is people are not following constitution. The constitution is in place, but constitutionalism is not there. Okay. We have to go back there. All right. So we call upon the youth, fantastic job. Keep up the young people first who are injured in hospital and I can tell you there is a cross-section of our pastors, the clergy, who have visited the bereaved and who have visited those who are affected. Instead of going to State House first. There's a cross-section of our pastors, the clergy, who have visited the bereaved and who have visited those who are affected, not carrying out our mandate. So to answer the question, that has been done. Number 2, you know, I'm still on the visit to State House. Yes. Like I've said, history clearly speaks to us. Whenever we have had issues in this country, the clergy have taken the initiative of mediation and also sitting with the leadership of the country. History clearly speaks to us. Whenever we have had issues in this country, the clergy
the discussions and broadcasting.
Have you spoken to the Gen Zs?
That has been done.
Do you know what they want? Have you spoken to the young people?
I have them in my house.
Do you know what they want?
Out there in the church. Trevor, you know, we are not living in another world, isolated from them. They are with us, like I said from the beginning. They are in our congregations. They are in our churches. In fact, you'll be so surprised that 85 to 90% of the congregations comprises of the Gen Z, the millennials, and these young people, which has been looted from the coffers, from the taxpayers, etc. These are things, like I said, we cannot run away from. The only thing is our children have become so bold and courageous to articulate the issues on behalf of Kenyans. So it's a wake-up call for all of us, and especially for the leadership of this country, to pay attention. And that's why the clergy prevailed on the president that please do not assent to this finance bill.
All right.
2, pay attention to what is being said. 3, let's come up with strategies of solving these issues which has been ably articulated. For example, let us engage these young people. Let's go even to where, in fact, we even advised him, you don't have to call them to State House. Go to where they are and address. Listen, first of all, what are they saying? And after you have listened, what are the elders saying? Because that's why we are calling it a multi-sectoral approach. What are the professionals? Business people are saying. Once he has listened, then let us now get all these views put down and let there be a plan of action. But there is an immediate plan of action. What is the immediate plan of action? Let our president come out in the open, and this we shared with him, and let him take responsibility as the symbol of unity in this country, as the father of this country, the presidency, and let him stand out clearly and articulate the evils that have been in this country, the wrongs which have been in this country, the corruption issues in this country. And I can tell you, let's watch this space. Because as I know, the presidents in this country, even in the previous regimes, they have always listened to the clergy.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We've run out of time here. Bishop Dr. John Warari, Chairman, Kenya Christian Forum and member IRCK. Bishop Dr. Kepha Omae, Kenya Coalition of Church Alliances and Ministry, and Sheikh Abdullahi Abdi, Chairman, NAMLEF. Thank you so much for making time this